What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope everyone is healthy and well. Today, I will be reacting to Carney to call election on Sunday. Sources confirm. Now I know this video was a long time ago, months back. Now I'm not watching it, specifically to catch up on this event because I already know about this. This was, way back. We already caught up and been there, done that. Take that off the list. I'm watching two videos today in hopes of learning more about how your election goes. Yes, Canada's election. So today I'll be reacting to and learning about, as an American, more about Canada's election. Here we go, man. Hopefully I get a lot of information from this video. If not, we got a second video. Yeah. Wish me luck.
Two sources confirming that Mark Carney intends to dissolve Parliament and call an election this Sunday, which is the 23rd. The election day, our sources are saying it varies.
April 20th. Dissolve Parliament, like disregard them? Or what do you mean? Like, we're not going to go through them? We're going to go straight election? What is that what they mean?
That Mark Carney intends to dissolve Parliament and call an election this Sunday, which is the 23rd. The election day, our sources are saying it varies, April 28th or the May the 5th, that a final decision has not yet been made. But this is from sources confirmed to CBC News and Radio-Canada. And Janice, we can go with this now. So I'll just go back to you for some thoughts as we look to an election in this country to be called on this Sunday, March the 23rd.
Yeah, I mean, this makes official what I can say a lot of people in Ottawa have been working towards in a not very secret fashion for some time now. Look, if they were not going to meet the House, they are up against a firm deadline. The prorogation was set to sort of end and the House return at the start of next week. So this weekend really sort of your last window if you aren't going to meet the House to kick off a campaign. The other thing is that we have been...
basically like, yeah. If you don't want to meet the House, you got to go on your own and do your own campaign and stuff for this election. That's basically what that means, rather than having the House make decisions and go through their, little 1-2s and stuff. I don't know if I'm catching on to this. I don't know. I could sound completely stupid to a lot of people right now. Me right now, I feel like I'm catching on, but to the rest of the world, I'm not trying to sound delusional or nothing, timestamp it and correct me, please. At least so I know in the comments, like, I can go back to the timestamp and I can refer to at least what you're correcting me on. I can listen to what I said and then look at what you're saying in the comments. Help a brother out, man.
Noticing the political parties take very obvious steps towards kicking off their campaign. The picture of the Liberal bus that, if you're watching Power and Politics last night, it's all being wrapped up in Liberal colors. The messaging from the Conservatives about how they're going to run their campaign that we talked about yesterday on this program, Heather. And I also want to say, if you look at what the leaders are doing this week, the campaign already kind of is underway. We have seen very election-style strategic announcements in strategic places, battleground ridings. For example, if you look at where the opposition leaders are today, these are places where you'd totally expect them to go if a campaign was on. So between the advertising that's been running and just kind of the parliamentary facts on the ground, all signs have been pointing towards this for some time. This latest word is just making it official.
And just before I let you go on all of this, again, if you just happened to join us in the last couple of seconds, CBC and Radio-Canada sources confirming that Mark Carney will dissolve Parliament and call an election this coming Sunday for an election in this country, either on April the 28th or on May the 5th. The final decision on that has not yet been made. I would note the Globe is saying it's expecting the
Dissolve. What? I thought it was listening to me, man. Dissolve. I can't even see this. Breaking down, ending, or fading away across various disciplines. So basically, that was right. So like basically, Mark Carney was like, "We're not gonna go through." Can y'all see that? Okay. I don't want my people, looking at their screens and stuff like this. Like, what is this? What does that say? Oh my goodness. So basically, all right, I have another question. Wait, I have another question. If the PM were to say he wanted to dissolve, wait. I gotta think of this the right way. Yeah, I got a sneak peek at that video. We about to watch that second one. Why are you listening to every word? Okay. If the PM were to say he wanted to dissolve the parliament and just run an election, does that basically mean rather than going through the parliament, he would run a separate election, particular to his own campaign type of thing? Oh my goodness. No, dissolving parliament is not separate election for the prime minister. I'm glad I looked this up because I would have went along with the whole video thinking that. I thought it was good. I thought I was on something. All right. In Westminster style systems like UK or Canada, the prime minister does not have their own separate campaign or election independent of the legislature. When a prime minister dissolves parliament, essentially hitting a reset button for the entire government system. Like new rules? What do you mean by reset? Oh, like everyone's positions? Everyone is up for election. Every single seat in a lower house, the House of Commons, becomes vacant. All MPs immediately lose their titles and must run for re-election if they want to return. So basically, you have to prove your worthiness again, you know? And yeah, you're worthy enough to get up in here again, man. You can't just sit here forever. Oh, there goes my phone. Well, you can't just sit here forever, thinking like, hey, I'm good. I got this seat in the house forever, da 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 da. And you may not be as educated as you was, or maybe have the same opinions and thoughts, the same mental system, judgmental system as when you first got into this game. It's good to, test people once in a while. We got to do it. The PM is a candidate too. The prime minister must usually run as a candidate in their own local constituency, just like any other PM. MP. I don't know why I said PM. Okay. I get the gist of this. I get the gist, guys. Please forgive me. Thank you so much for your patience. I just wanted to go ahead and understand this a little bit more.
April 28th date, but according on that has not yet been made. I would note the Globe is saying it's expecting the April 28th date, but according to our sources, not yet been made. So we will see. But Janice, just in terms of the calendar, the 24th was approaching, prorogation set to come to an end, Parliament set to resume. Just the strategy of doing this before actually having to return rather to parliamentary business. If you are the new prime minister, the new leader of the Liberal Party, what might be the thinking there?
Well, a couple of factors. One, things might have played into this. First, the optics, right? It's interesting. One of Mark Carney's kind of talking points around the relationship with the U.S. is "mettre chez nous," like being masters. We're in control of sort of what happens on this file to us, not anyone else. And you could also say, in terms of this election call, this is Mark Carney keeping control, right? That he is not kind of defeated in the House of Commons. He has not given the opportunity for the opposition parties to bring a vote of non-confidence or to defeat the government on a supply bill, a money bill, which would have been coming up within days. And we know the opposition parties had signaled that they would defeat this government. So the end result, being an election kind of now, was going to happen one way or another. So if you are the new prime minister, Do you prefer to do this on your own, to pull your own plug, if you will, rather than have them do it for you in an atmosphere where you look like you're somehow desperately clinging to power? The other reality, of course, because Mark Carney doesn't have a seat in the House, he wouldn't even be in the House of Commons to lead his caucus kind of through that process, which, you know, would need to include a throne speech and everything else. There is a question here about sort of wanting to sort of be seen to be pursuing the mandate you need to get done the things that you have promised. In terms of the average person sitting at home, if anyone is concerned about the fact that Mark Carney is Prime Minister now without having been elected, of course, there's nothing against the rules about that. But you have kind of more moral authority, if you will, to be making big decisions on Canada's behalf, to be leading the file on Canada-US relations, for example, if you have gone to the voters and been elected. And so being seen to do that, to pursue that mandate sooner rather than later, is something that sort of is transparent and sort of takes it to Canadians. Look, I understand I need to be elected. Let's get on with the business of doing that. I would expect when we get to this weekend and sort of the opening speeches of the campaign kind of kick everything off, we are going to hear that rationale about the need to sort of seek that mandate sooner rather than later so they can get on with the business of making big decisions that are in Canada's national interest.
Right.
Janice, really appreciate your experience and instant analysis there as we've been preparing for this moment. But now, again, as you're joining us on the breaking news, Janice, we'll obviously talk more about this as our program goes on. But the breaking news from Ottawa is approved now from CBC News, Radio-Canada, with two sources confirming Mark Carney will dissolve Parliament and call an election this Sunday. That's March the 23rd. And Election Day, that is still up in the air a little bit. Sources are talking to CBC News about two dates, April the 28th or May the 5th. David Cochrane was reporting on this earlier in the week, of course, on Power and Politics. But two dates still, and according to our sources to CBC and Radio-Canada, there still is no final decision made, but either of those two. We will learn the details when the election call comes.
I learned a lot from this video and that source we just looked up. This was great. Let's go ahead and check out this second video right here by Student Vote. Original video links will be in the description down below, guys. Our electoral system. Here we go.
In a democracy, we hold elections to choose government representatives. Elections are basically contests where interested candidates campaign for our support and ultimately our vote. There are many different systems used around the world. Elections are basically contests where interested candidates campaign for our support and ultimately our vote. There are many different systems used around the world to determine who is selected and who forms government. In Canada, we use the first past the post, or a single-member plurality electoral system. Our country is divided into small areas called ridings. The people living within a riding are called constituents. Ridings are determined by population size as well as geographic factors, such as roads and rivers in cities and towns, which means that the size and shape of a riding can be very different. During the election, several people in each riding will compete for the job of representative. These are known as candidates. Usually, they're associated with a political party, but sometimes they're not, in which case they are called independents.
Right.
Under the
we always
first
got
past
at least two people in the political parties, and then we have like the independents. Yeah.
the post system. One person, or candidate, is elected per riding to represent the constituents. Voters can only choose one candidate on their ballot. And the candidate who has the most number of votes within each riding wins. They are still elected, even if they don't have the support of the majority of voters. They just need more votes than any other candidate. In the next election, Canadians will elect 338 MPs to sit in the House of Commons, meaning there will be 338 mini election races across the country. And the party that wins the most
This is where,
races
like the deep research comes in. You really got to get into it because these are people that you got to do research on. You got to look up, how do you really look up these people? Are they known? Are they on the internet? They got to be if they work within the government, right? Can you look them up? Their credibility in this and that, and learn about them, learn about their background a little bit. That way you can know who you're voting for. Otherwise, you're kind of blindsided, and it's like Well, it's just as bad as the U.S. then, right? People over here, I don't know who I'm voting for this year. You know, it's kind of like, why vote if you don't know who the person is, if you're not educated on them? You know, we gotta study them. It's like just like how you got a school book report or you got a presentation. You gotta study, man. Study these people before you vote. Cause you're gonna be pissed. You're gonna be that same person complaining months later, years later. Well, I don't like our government. I don't like what they're doing. Would you the one that vote? You know what I'm saying? And that's what people be doing out here. And they be like, it boggles my mind. I'll be like, well, who'd you vote for? Well, I just let my granddaughter vote. You know, I didn't get into that this year.
Will most likely form government, and their leader becomes the prime minister. If the governing party has more than half of all the seats, they will have a majority government. If they have half or less, they will have a minority government. In order to pass any legislation, bills must receive the support of more than half of the members.
Right.
You can see how it could get tricky with a minority government. The difference between winning and losing a riding can be decided by even one vote out of thousands. And an entire election can be decided by just one riding. That's why your vote is so important.
Oh yeah. That's it? Oh, wait a minute. Okay. Well, both of these videos were actually very educational, not gonna lie. Your boy Strac learned a lot, guys. You know what I was running with in the beginning, my conclusion was obviously wrong. We had to go ahead and fact check it. Um, and I was severely wrong. But I looked it up and it said basically like, no, when Mark Carney is basically dissolving the parliament, it doesn't mean he's shutting them out and going independent, running his own campaign. And okay, I don't even know what I was thinking. It's because I wasn't really like too familiar with it. But like, he's basically saying we're gonna reset the system. Like, basically press a reset button, and everyone's positions, including mine, it makes it fair, including my seat, is up for a challenge. You know. In this video, I believe they said he wasn't in the parliament. I mean, he wasn't within at that time. He wasn't, the PM at that time. But PM or MP? Why? What's the what difference between PM and MP? Because what's up with that? I'm seeing this online. Difference between PM and MP. Let's go put P.MP like the damn. That's not what we talking about. In Westminster style democracy like UK, Canada, Australia, the relationship between Prime Minister, PM, and Member of Parliament. Ah, come on. How did I not know that? Member of Parliament. Oh my goodness. Ay, ay, ay. Oh. What matters is we caught on to it now, man. And yeah, it's not basically shutting them out or going independent. It's basically like everybody's seats, positions up for, challenge. It's up for opportunity. And yeah, you no longer have a position. Don't even say you're part of this or that. No, you're competing for it now. And then that leaves it to the people to go ahead, educate themselves to see who they want to vote for. It's a lot of elections running around voting. A lot of people, I feel like it's underrated voting for like, as far as like the U.S., governors, mayors, senates. I feel like it's very underrated because a lot of people just know about the presidents, the main ones running, the main ones running. You see what I'm saying? Democratic and Republican. Everybody else, who? It's like, why even run? You know what I'm saying? Like, oh my goodness. But it was great. It was great to be educated on this. I want to say it's kind of similar. It's a little tweaks, it's not completely the same, but it is very similar to how we do things over here in the US. Yes. Um, very, very, yeah. Because wait a minute, not everybody's positions be up for grabs out here in the US. Now that I'm thinking about it. Am I tripping? Am I tripping? Because they be like, I've been with them for this many years. You can only have new people within, right? No, wait, I've never seen. Is it the same in the U.S.? Can everybody within the governments can all their positions be up for grabs? Basically meaning like uh basically wait, hold on, meaning like can I edit this? I thought I could edit this. Basically meaning like I wanted to say like not a system. I'm trying to remember the word that Mark Carney used. Same. Is it the same in U.S.? Can everybody? Positions. And run. We'll just put it that way. Yeah, we'll put it that way. No, U.S. That's what I'm saying. I've never seen like the government like we had to. I'm like, who this person, who this person, who this person, who that person. We get a lot of people. I've never seen that. Never seen that. It's usually like the main parties that run this and that. That we have our Senate, we have our governor, stuff like that. No, the U.S. system is completely different than the United States. There is no power to dissolve. That's the word dissolve. Yeah, the government enforces everyone to rerun for their positions at once. That's what I'm saying. There's no resolve, which is like that system reset. We don't have that. The U.S. government functions on a fixed, staggered calendar that cannot be changed by the president. Yup. Well, because in the U.S. the president doesn't have all the power. Does not. We do not. I mean, I said we. The president does not have all the power. If they want to pass laws or even have an idea, you gotta pass it. You gotta go through somebody and then they pass it. That's how we do it. That's why we have Congress, judicial system. This is why we have all of this. This was amazing learning about this. I noticed some similarities, but this is completely different from how we do things. I feel like, well, wait a minute. So that means the PM, Mark Carney, has all that power to do whatever he wants in Canada, to call for do whatever he wants under certain conditions. You know, and our president doesn't. It's like not even in the U.S. the president is free to be free or to have his power all the way. You know what I'm saying? Like, not even a president could do something like that. Cause I'm like, wait, Mark Carney don't gotta go through. If Mark Carney came up with an idea, say he wanted to change a law or something, would he have to get it passed and go through the parliament? Before I run my mouth and say something stupid. What? Why you give me a Facebook? What am I gonna do with that? What am I gonna do with that? Come on, this video 23 minutes. You change it. Come on, you're not moving fast enough for me. Does Mark Carney have all the power to change the rules or laws on his own time, or does he have to go through the parliament to get it passed? Please, mess with me. Please. In Canada, Prime Minister Mark Carney does not have the power to change federal laws on his own. He must get them passed through the parliament. Okay. Following 25 federal election, Carney leads a minority government. This means his party holds. Wait, so he can call for an election. He has the power to do that. He has the power to call for an election. Our president does not. But both our president and the prime minister, they have to go through parliament or Congress, this and that, to go ahead and, get the laws passed and certain things. Okay, I'm understanding this more. I got to get into this a little bit more and learn more about this topic and study a little bit more, guys. This was amazing learning about this. Feel free. I didn't mean to shake the camera like this. My big behind moving. I'm over here. Look, I'm over here doing this. Everybody feel free to like, comment, subscribe, turn on post notifications on. Feel free to educate a brother down below in the comment section. Don't be shy. Please feel free to share this video on the channel to your friends and family members, whoever you feel may be interested in the topics that we react to and we learn about, educate ourselves about on this channel, educate each other about, even videos that are just educational or just, should I say, entertaining, tell them come over here, stop by, check it out, join the family, join the community. Everyone, feel free to check out the Twitch down below in the description. And I hope to catch you all in the next reaction video.